Alright, hey guys, this is Matthew with Go-To Tech Reviews. Today we are going to be looking at system noise of CPU fans versus their cooling abilities. So after I got done building my rig here, which I have now named Bahamut, all you Final Fantasy nerds will understand the reference. But after I built it, I noticed that when I was getting at full load, the CPU fans were kicking in pretty hard, and it was pretty noisy and pretty distracting. So what I started doing some research. Now the cooler that I have in there is the Corsair H115i Extreme Performance Liquid CPU Cooler. It's a fantastic all-in-one liquid cooling solution, and it keeps my temperatures nice and cozy. But the noise was just a little much for me. So what I decided to do was I did some research, and I found these Noctua fans. These are the Noctua NF P14S Redux 1500 PWM fans. The acoustical noise level is rated at 25.8 decibels with an airflow of about 80 CFM. Stock Corsair fans are rated at 104 CFM with a decibel level of 40 decibels, or acoustical noise level of 40 decibels. So I'm thinking that this will be much quieter in my system. So big shout out to Noctua for providing these two of these fans for this experiment. And before we jump into installing these fans, I've actually already run the first set of tests on the stock Corsair fans. So first we need to replace the stock Corsair fans with the Noctuas. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll run our series of tests, and then we'll take a look at the results and see what we get. So I wonder what we'll get. Though my guess is that we will see temperatures be a little bit warmer, but I expect to see a pretty significant decrease in noise. Alright, before we take a look at the results here, the CPU that we're using is the Intel Core i7-6700K. We ran at an overclock of 4.6 gigahertz with a V-core of 1.32 volts. So we had both scenarios, the non-overclocked and the overclocked, and we compared the stock Corsair fans and the Noctua NFP14S fans, and looked at the temperature readings and sound readings for both. So let's see what we have here. So if we look at the lowest settings, and actually before we jump into this, each of these represent the Corsair Link's fan settings of 40%, 60%, 80%, and 100% of the max. And the stock Corsair fans have a max RPM of 2400 RPM, and the Noctua NFP14S fans have a max of 1500 RPM. If we look at the bottom results, we see that the temperatures are about the same and the sound is about the same. This is to be expected. The stock Corsair fans are a little bit cooler, but also a little bit louder. And that's kind of a theme that we will see throughout here. Now, if you look at the 60 and 80% settings, notice how we're jumping up in decibel levels on every time we increase the fan speed. That is also to be expected. And the temperature falls for each increase. There wasn't really much of a jump in terms of temperature difference when we went from 60% to 80% on the stock Corsair fans. So if we take a look at this temperature, we see 56.23 degrees Celsius with the total system noise level of 60.62. But if we look at a similar temperature over on the NFP14S fans, in fact, you'll see they're almost the exact same, but the system noise level was much lower at about 11.3 decibel delta, much quieter. And if we go up and look at the max here, we will see that the noise level gaps out even more, and really without much increase in cooling on the stock fans. So there is a temperature delta of almost 1 degree Celsius, but the noise difference is about 12.3 dBA. That is very significant. And my system is actually pretty noisy because even with it, the CPU fans being really quiet, I'm still at around 47 decibels. So let's go ahead and take a look at the overclock scenario. And now this is where the stock fans are doing their job. They are going to give you the max cooling performance, but it comes at a noise hit. But if the first two settings at 40% and 60% fan levels, you'll see that the cooling on the stock fans is starting to pull ahead. But if we take a look at the max of the NFP14S, the loudest it got was 51.42 decibels, and the lowest temperature that we were able to get while running that was 60.21 degrees Celsius. This matches up roughly with the 60% of the stock Corsair fans. So you'll see that for similar temperatures, we get similar noise levels. The Noctuas are a little bit quieter, while the stock Corsair fans are a little bit cooler on the CPU. Now this is the max performance that we could get on the Noctuas. Now before we jump into this, notice we did hit a point of diminishing returns when we went from 80% to 100% on the stock Corsair fans. We got an increase in temperature and an increase in noise. So this is the ideal point for the stock Corsair fans while running in the overclock scenario. So let's compare the maxes now. The max on the stock Corsair fans is 56.77 degrees Celsius, but at a 60 decibel total system noise level. And if you look at the Noctuas, the NFP14S fans It's 4 degrees warmer, but also 9 decibels quieter. So if you want the absolute max performance, you got to stick with the Corsair fans for this. However, it does come at a very large noise level increase. And actually, if you look at all the temperatures on here, they're all very reasonable. And if you look at the lowest fan setting on the Noctua NF-P14S fans, we're running at 780 RPM. My total system noise level is about 47 decibels, and I'm still at a very cozy 64 degrees Celsius. This to me says it all right here. And that is a very comfortable temperature and a very comfortable noise level for me. If that extra 4 to 6 degrees really means that much to you and you don't care about the noise, then stick with the Corsair fans. However, I'm finding that for my particular use case, even while overclocked, the Noctua fans are much quieter and give me a very similar performance, and I am very comfortable at those temperatures and noise levels. Alright, so now that we've looked at the data, what does it all mean? What we found, or in my opinion actually, is that the Noctua NF-P14S fans perform very admirably, and they are the perfect solution for someone looking for a much quieter experience. You only lose a few degrees Celsius in temperature, and as you saw in the results video earlier, that even with the lowest setting on the Noctua fans, we were still getting 64 degrees Celsius under full load with the Intel Core i7s overclocked at 4.6 gigahertz. So unless you really need that extra 4 to 6 degrees Celsius and do not care about noise, though I don't know why you wouldn't, because I think everyone should, but if that's not you, stick with the Corsair fans. Otherwise, I highly recommend installing an aftermarket fan solution to make your system much quieter. You don't want that point of noise to be your CPU cooler. I did also learn that the rest of my system is fairly loud, so I need to address that. But for the sake of this video, we only really needed to look at the deltas. So I highly recommend the Noctua NF-P14S in this particular scenario. They fit exactly what I was looking for. And you can purchase them in the link below. You can support the channel and go ahead and toss me a like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Thanks.